Literacy is a tool for advancing collective liberation. It must be developed and defended by the working class. Literacy is not a measure of a person's intelligence. It is a tool used to access information and navigate society. In every iteration of class-based society, slavery, feudalism, capitalism, the rich ruling class uses access to literacy as a tool to maintain power and social control. This is why it should come as no surprise that mass literacy campaigns have been one of the first priorities of every socialist revolution, both leading up to and after achieving political power. Socialism is the transition away from a class-based society towards a society that meets needs according to needs. For socialism to take root, the working masses must make collective decisions about our lives economically, politically, and socially. This is what genuine democracy looks like. Promoting literacy involves equipping the working class with every tool necessary to access, understand, and transmit information. Literacy towards collective liberation is more than a matter of linking sounds to letters, phonics. It is also the practice of critical, independent thought and political analysis. The capitalist class and their misleader minions do everything they can to remove critical thinking skills from literacy programs that are already under threat. From defunding public libraries and arts programs that nurture creativity and independent thought, to the corporate control of textbooks, book banning, to blatant crackdowns and elimination of what is left of the free press. The capitalist class has spent decades chipping away at free public and independent media, as well as the institutions that house archives and accurate history. They do not want us questioning their headlines or textbooks that continually reflect the interests of the rich and never the interests of the working class people. 90% of the traditional media, television, print, and radio are owned by just 6 corporations. The corporate media wants to believe the capitalist class who control information is on our side, and they want to tell us who our enemies are. Our revolutionary ancestor Malcolm X told us, if you're not careful, the newspaper will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. Our practice in defense of literacy must include critical and investigative thought about the information we are provided. The fight to promote mass literacy with political clarity is a consistent battleground in a struggle for collective liberation. During chattel enslavement, the rich white ruling class in the South banned literacy for enslaved people. Teaching literacy was criminalized, and enslaved people who were discovered to be literate were brutally punished. Yet banning will never stop people from trying to access information or learn. Enslaved Muslims from West Africa who were literate in Arabic wielded their literacy as a tool of resistance to transcribe the Quran and maintain access to their spiritual practices. They also documented plans for uprisings and their conditions under enslavement. This evidence was found in primary documents written by Africans and in journals of white settlers and enslavers that commented about their discovery of literacy among some enslaved Africans. They were enslaved peoples who, even if they did not yet have written language, were proficient in reading maps and the stars in the sky to navigate escape routes to free themselves. These skills and information were passed on to others. There were also those who had the opportunity to learn to read and write in secret. In very rare instances, some enslaved people were taught to read and write in order to assist their enslavers with business management in New Orleans. As a result, they too were able to wield literacy towards liberation by accessing and sharing information with each other about a number of topics, like rebellions against chattel enslavement, conditions of black communities outside the South, and political developments beyond the plantation. It is exactly due to the black nation's pursuit of literacy as a tool to combat unnecessary suffering and premature death that there are public schools in the South today. During the Reconstruction era, after the Civil War, 1865 to 1877, the public school system was established by the Freedmen's Bureau and other organizations of both formerly enslaved people and some free people of color. These public schools opened their doors to black children and poor white children alike. They also laid the foundation of public access to special education to meet the needs of all children in the public school system. Non-criminalized community defense of literacy. Under this current openly fascist regime, many are rightly concerned about the current status of literacy and even the possibility of reestablishing anti-literacy laws. While this is entirely possible, the rich ruling class and their puppet politicians don't need to change laws to make literacy inaccessible, though they have had the power to do so. Instead, they can continue to defund, neglect, and privatize the public spaces where literacy is taught and nurtured. It is up to us, the working class, to defend the public budgets, buildings, and all public workers who serve the collective interests, from educators to sanitation workers, in a fight to defend and develop literacy. We must be prepared to defend our public resources that make literacy accessible without leaning on or replicating the capitalist state's practice of criminalization. Criminalization is used to constantly reallocate funds from public programming to policing public spaces. Many of our schools have more security guards than nurses and counselors. Our public libraries are contending with the constant criminalization of youth. Unhoused people are in other oppressed communities that are heavily demonized by the capitalist class. The rich ruling class and their minions will rather invest in armed private security and metal detectors instead of ensuring access to clean water, working climate control in our public schools, or ensuring school buses are fully funded and staffed so that students have reliable, regular, and safe transportation to and from school every day. Students are being criminalized and physically assaulted when they use their literacy and critical thinking skills to speak out and organize against ICE raids, imperialist war, or genocides in the name of safety. We do need safety plans in our public schools and public libraries, but we do not need political censorship, criminalization, policing, punishment, or neglect. This is particularly key to supporting the young minds that one day will be in charge of our collective future. Not relying on criminalizing bodies provides us with the incredible opportunity to implement our own non-criminalized community defense plans for our youth and access to literacy. Non-criminalized community defense requires us as a community to make clear demands and follow up regularly on those demands to ensure the physical spaces and programming are being appropriately maintained and not neglected. Fighting for fully functional facilities with regular maintenance to keep buildings safe, healthy, open, and accessible is a critical component to non-criminalized community defense. It also includes collectively struggling for the increase, not decrease, of annual public budgets, the growth of additional public programming, access to nutritious foods, and the expansions of hours and services for our public libraries, especially in the summer when schools are closed. Non-criminalized community defense of literacy also means supporting the demands of our school and library workers and a right to a living wage that increases with the cost of living until we live in a society where people do not have to pay out for their basic needs to be met, and any other support needed for them to continue to maintain and advance literacy in our communities. It also means fighting censorship of books and world news and the constant insistence of the rich ruling class to make public spaces apolitical while they politicize away our schools and libraries out from under us. Our public schools and public libraries have suffered greatly under the management of the capitalist class. Therefore, we must hold on to what we have while fighting for more. Until we live in a society that is not based on class oppression and hierarchy, literacy will always be a battleground. We have a responsibility as the working class to collectively invest our time and energy to develop and defend all entry points to literacy in the struggle for our collective liberation. Let us continue to lean on and learn from each other and the historical resistance of those who fought for access to literacy. Let us continue to pursue what we know is possible, not what the capitalist class wants us to settle for. Every battle we wage against the ruling class brings us closer to the conditions of collective liberation. Forward ever, backward never. Running the people's history. On March 13, 1979, The people of Grenada established a successfully socialist revolution under the leadership of Maurice Bishop. The People's Revolutionary Government, PRG, carried out a mass literacy campaign after seizing power and popularized the slogan, "If you know, teach. If you don't, learn." This countrywide literacy campaign was carried out by the Grenadian Revolution to fulfill the promises of permanent education for the Grenadian people. On October 25, 1983, the United States government illegally invaded the small Caribbean island and toppled the socialist government. Today, U.S. imperialism and Zionists continue to spread terror upon the people of Cuba, Venezuela, Sudan, Iran, Lebanon, Palestine, and beyond in pursuit of control and profit. But this terror is being met with strong resistance all over the world, including right here within the belly of the beast. No to U.S. imperialism and Zionism, yes to collective liberation. All power to the people.